Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. If any woman deserves to be prosecuted and sent to prison for the harm they've caused children, then that woman must be Suzie Green. She is the ex-chief executive of the Mermaids charity, a charity set up to sterilise children on an industrial scale. She is not medically qualified. She has no qualifications at all in any medical matter, physical, or bodily, mental health, anything like that. And yet she demanded that she was called a medical professional. She was referring children to the Tavistock clinic when even their own GPs had consistently and repeatedly refused to do so because these children were not gender dysphoric. But she took it upon herself to do so, she having a vested interest, having destroyed her own son's future by sterilising him and turning him into supposedly a girl. Well, we're going to have a look at this. It's all coming out about her, and this article sort of goes in and shows what a monster she truly is. Here goes. So the boss of the trans charity Mermaids referred children to the NHS Tavistock Gender Clinic even when their own GPs had repeatedly refused to do so, documents reveal. The Mermaids ex-chief executive Suzie Green, she demanded to be called a medical professional. I think Dr. Mengele would be nearer the truth. So Mermaids ex-chief executive Suzie Green, who has no formal medical training whatsoever, was said to have a direct line to the clinic director, Dr. Polly Carmichael. If that case is true, and Dr. Polly Carmichael, has listened to and used the influence or been abused by the influence of this woman, then Dr. Carmichael needs to be stripped of her ability to ever practice medicine again. She has been got at, and she is a danger to children, and she needs to lose her doctorate. Anyway, she reportedly demanded to be regarded as a professional so she could send referrals to young people who were unsupported by their GP. In one case, she was said to have sent one, noting that the GP had consistently refused to refer. That's because the doctor knows more about it than you do. More than 300 pages of documents seen by the Sunday Telegraph include emails between Dr. Carmichael and Miss Green, who now works for Gender GP, an online service which prescribes puberty blockers online without any kind of psychiatric or psychoanalytical work, just handing these things out to children. That woman there is destroying children. Absolutely destroying children, and she probably does it for a sexual thrill. It's the only explanation, isn't it? In 2016, Miss Green suggested a referral was rejected because it was not validated or risk assessed by a professional, which I consider to be a proper reason for refusing it. Let's have someone who's actually qualified in this field to make the decision, not some desperately sad woman who's failed as a mother and who failed to get professional psychiatric treatment for her son and forced him to lose his ghoulies and pretend that he's a girl for the rest of his life. Let's hope the son doesn't change his mind and one day want children, because those days have gone. And there's Polly Carmichael. Let's hope she loses her job for listening to that mad evil bitch Suzie Green. I can only assume from this statement that I'm not seen as a professional, she wrote to Dr. Carmichael. If you do not accept referrals from mermaids due to the fact that I'm not a professional, I would like to know the reasoning behind that. Well, it's simple. It's because you're not a professional. You're not qualified. You've never done a day's bloody studying of this field. You know nothing about it except for the fact that you're just a failed mother. That's your only qualification. Why should anyone listen to you? And the only reason you're doing this is to salve your own guilt, or possibly, and I don't know if it is the case, but maybe it's the case, you're getting a little bit of a sexual thrill out of sterilising children. That is still a possibility. There are lots of mental cases out there, and you're certainly one of them, I think. Dr. Carmichael replied, "We do not accept referrals from third sector groups, and I know you've helpfully sent in referrals for the past. This continues to be the case." The Tavistock and Portman NHS Trust had initially refused to hand over emails or minutes of the meetings with Miss Green, who was part of a task group reviewing services at the Tavistock between 2014 and 2018, following a Freedom of Information request. When the clinic was threatened with High Court action, it finally complied with the request last week. Yeah, once it knew it had to go to the High Court, that would have opened up a whole different can of worms. So it was like, oh, we'll just get these emails out. Let's, for heaven's sake, not have to stand on a stand and say things under oath. Critics argue that the documents show that bosses of the Tavistock were being influenced by lobby groups, because of course they are. These groups that want to destroy children for their own political ends. Stephanie Davis-Arai of the Transgender Trend organisation said the Tavistock were really enthralled to these activists. They were ideologically captured. The London-based clinic was told to close last year after a review by Dr. Hilary Cass found it left young people at considerable risk of poor mental health and physical health. Plans for replacement have been delayed, and so this clinic, which is basically butchering children on an industrial scale, is still going on. It's still pushing people through the doors, giving them bodily changing, permanently changing children, without them sometimes even seeing a psychiatrist or a psychoanalyst. Anything. It is appalling what they're doing to these children. And then it has been proven that some of these children are not trans. And some of them are being pushed through because of the likes of Stonewall, or because of targets that the transgender clinic itself has to meet in order to maintain funding. And sometimes it's just parents wanting a trans child so they can be stylish. I hope these children grow up and sue everyone, including their own parents. Sue them to smithereens. The NHS, and this is a thing, they're actually looking now at possibly the biggest court case in British legal history. And it will amount to billions with a B. Billions in damages that the NHS will have to find. Billions. And every doctor involved in this needs to lose their licence to practice. They all need to go and find another occupation because they have done some terrible, terrible things to children. And that Green, Suzie Green, she should be behind bars for what she's done. And for her, even the mental approach now, she's sitting there, she can't keep up. Oh, I can't get involved with the charity anymore, so I can't, get directly involved in whipping ghoulies off boys or whipping girls' breasts off and things like that. So what I'll do is I'll sit behind the scenes, I'll open up an online place and I'll just dish out these chemicals which will chemically castrate people and make them sterile, and I'll get a thrill out of it, I hope. I mean, that's basically what she's doing. What an evil, evil woman she is. Destroying the lives of hundreds, if not thousands of children. Anyway, I'm going to come up and leave her alone. She is a disgusting human being. This truly does need a full police investigation. People need to be arrested and questioned. People need to be charged. And anyone, and I don't care if they're doctors or not, anyone doing these things to children that have happened without a full psychiatric evaluation, or where nurses, and this has happened on even non-medical people working in the hospital, handed out these chemicals, and any nurse who's done that, they should only be prescribed by consultants. And anyone who's handed these things out who is not a consultant needs to lose their job and be prosecuted for the harm they've done these children. Suzie Green most assuredly needs to be in a court and answering all these questions, and then maybe spend an awful long time behind bars, because she will have undoubtedly destroyed the lives of many children. This is a disgusting act, and these people do it because they have this mental fixation that this thing is real, when it quite clearly isn't. Genuine gender dysphoria exists. I accept that. But it is so incredibly rare. It is nothing on the scale that the likes of Suzie Green is pushing. She's doing it and she's destroying children, many of whom are transitioning back, fully aware of what they've done to themselves and utterly destroyed their futures. They will never have the children of their own because of the likes of Suzie Green pushing them because of her sick, degenerate agenda. And I hope to God that this does evolve into a full-scale investigation and that lots of people go to jail. And then I do want to see the NHS utterly sued to smithereens over it, because it's the NHS that are doing this. No one there is safeguarding these children. And when the NHS gets sued like that, and we see all these senior managers losing their job as well, then it will be safe for children. It will never happen again. And I'm finished. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, please hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, protect your children, and don't go anywhere near Suzie Green. And goodbye.